Mrs. Gadd said she'd received an order for a hind quarter of pork to be delivered to the cottage on Saturday, and young Thomas Ham told our stable boy that he saw a carriage outside there last night. Whoever it is must be someone of means if they can afford a carriage, Mrs. Lewis said.
Perhaps it's a family,
Caroline said, pouring tea into Andrew's cup. A family? In a hovel that's barely large enough to house one? Lady Fulford exclaimed. Don't talk nonsense, child. A family of means would never stoop to live in such a place.
Then perhaps it's a young man on vacation, Mamma,
the eldest Miss Fulford said, pulling a face at her sister.
A single man,
Sarah Fulford added. What do you think, Vicar? Mrs. Lewis asked. My hopes are pinned firmly on the newcomer being a young man, Andrew said. Preferably one in search of a wife. Perhaps then the attention of Lady Fulford and her unmarried daughters might turn toward that unfortunate fellow, another poor carcass for the crows to pick over. The place is hardly fit to be lived in, Mrs. Lewis said. The garden is overgrown with weeds. There's nobody to tend to it since Mrs. Legg's father passed, God rest his soul. The garden didn't seem so badly overgrown this morning, Andrew said. 5 pairs of eyes focused on him. You've been to the cottage, Vicar? Mrs. Lewis asked. I passed it on my morning walk. And? Did you see the tenant? Lady Fulford's thin-lipped mouth curved into a smile. Vicar, you've been teasing us, have you not? Have you called on him? Is he a man of means? I'm sorry to disappoint you, but no, Andrew said. The cottage looked unoccupied. As it had, save for the shadow he'd seen at the window. And he could have sworn he'd heard a cry, high-pitched, like that of an animal, at which point the shadow had moved, then disappeared. He'd dismissed it as an animal, a fox, perhaps, seeking refuge from Mr. Fulford and his hunting dogs. But what fox stood tall enough to look out of a window? Perhaps the apparition he'd seen at the cliff top hadn't been a ghost.